We couldn't be happier today, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome to the show the lead singer of a band which is just climbing the charts and blowing people away with both their live performances and their self-titled EP, Dirty Honey. Joining us today, the lead singer from Dirty Honey, Marc Labebelle. Marc, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Absolutely. Welcome to the show, Marc. We're ecstatic to have you. Now, Marc, for people who may not know, the self-titled EP was released in March, Dirty Honey. Of course, it has truly climbed the record charts. Currently, it's at number 7. The single is. Are you guys surprised at the success of your single, When I'm Gone? Is it something that you guys were really ready for, the success, or has it kind of caught everyone off guard?
I think we had a pretty good sense of, it was going to at least get played on the radio, and then, anything on top of that was icing on the cake. We didn't know that, I guess, North America was so ready for rock and roll again, which is a good sign. I'm encouraged by it, and I hope, it opens the door for even more bands to just have an opportunity at radio and bring rock and roll a little bit back to the forefront again.
Marc Labebelle joining us today from Dirty Honey. Let's talk about your earlier days. Of course, there's John on guitar, Justin on bass, and Corey on drums. You guys, you're all coming from different areas throughout the U.S., but you all draw from kind of similar musical interests. Like yourself, I know you're a big fan of bands like Aerosmith and AC/DC. Talk a little bit about that if you could.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's what brought us all together, right? Like, when I met John, I just felt a certain, connection to him that musically we were together on something that I didn't feel with a lot of the other people I played around with in LA. So, when we, got off stage, because I met him, literally I never even said a word to him, and he played the guitar for me before I heard him talk, honestly. So when he got off stage and we started talking about the music we loved, there were a lot of similarities there. Aerosmith, AC/DC, Zeppelin, Queen, The Stones, Soundgarden, Audioslave, Rage Against the Machine, and it just kept going on and on. And I was like, it's kismet with this guy, and I feel a connection to him, and that's where it all sort of began. And then, when you throw Justin in there, there's a lot of Guns N' Roses influence with him, and along with all the other bands I just mentioned. And, so it took a little while to find a drummer like Corey that wasn't so much in the sideman mentality that is pretty common around LA, but wanted to be in a band. And once we got him on board, it really took off on its own.
And it did take off, but I mean, you guys, let's go back a little bit further. Back in 2018, you guys kind of put together your own song. The name of that song was called Fire Away, and that kind of laid the groundwork before your EP, and we're going to talk about that EP. You spent a lot of time playing in bars. Tell people about that, about all of that groundwork and that coming together, how that all came together for Dirty Honey.
Yeah, I think we sort of organically stayed away from gigs on the Sunset Strip, right? Those are gigs, the Whiskey, the Roxy, those are sort of gigs that are more like pay-to-play type style, whereas we wanted to get paid to play. We were offering a service that we felt was pretty good. You're getting a pretty badass rock and roll band here for $400-500 to come kick the ass out of everybody in your club, and we wanted to get paid, $400-500. So, the only catch to that is you're playing for like 4 hours a night, whereas if you played a Roxy, you would do maybe 45 to an hour. Something like that. You'd have like a more showcase style set, and those 4 hour gigs, man. You do those three days a week, all over town. You get tight really fast, and then you start to learn, especially with your songwriting, what's working for the crowd, what's not working for the crowd. And it's a good testing ground, not only for songwriting, but for your stage show. Like it helps you in every facet of being a musician. Your performance, your playing gets better. It forces me to sing, which, helps me find myself a little bit more. So all those things sort of tied in and slowly just got better and better until our songs, really started to when we wrote like Rolling Sevens, for instance, and we played it at a bar for the first time, the whole bar was dancing to a song that nobody had ever heard of before. And it was a really cool moment to kind of know, like, hey, I think we're onto something here, boys, you know?
Well, and let's, since you brought it up, let's talk about it. Marc Labebelle joining us today from the band Dirty Honey. You brought it up, Rolling Sevens. It's on the EP. Another song on the EP, Heartbreaker. Those both have a great bluesy kind of modern classic rock sound to it. Did that come very natural from you guys? And is that really where your roots come from as a band or individually? Where did that come from?
Yeah, I think, that's just what comes out. I mean, like, anytime you put a guitarist, a singer, a drummer, and a bassist into a room, I think there's going to be, some sort of classic connotations with that. It's a pretty simple recipe, right? And really the rock and roll that we loved is from 1998 and before. There's not been too much from the 2000s that I've been really excited about, other than like the Black Keys and like Gary Clark Jr., Rival Sons obviously are a big one that we love. There's a couple bands out there, but anytime the band dynamic is that, it's gonna have some classic sounds there and riffs, and I'm a very high bluesy singer, so that gets tossed into the mix, and you've got hopefully what is a fresh but familiar sound for the audience.
Oh, it certainly is. And so, as you said, you guys really honed your skills together there in LA. And when you grouped everything together and you decided, hey, now it's time to put an EP together, you didn't do it there in LA. And this may shock some people, but you decided, hey, we're going to get our ass on a plane and travel all the way over on the other side of a fucking globe. I mean, tell people about that.
Yeah, so Nick Didia was our producer, and he's produced Stone Temple Pilots records and, Rage Against the Machine records and Pearl Jam stuff, and we had a couple Skype conversations with him, and we also had a couple conversations with the guys that produced Greta Van Fleet's EP, their double EP, and when that fell through, we were just like, we Googled Byron Bay, Australia, and we were like, this looks like paradise, let's take a chance here. And we started booking flights and crunching numbers, and it was pretty affordable, honestly. So we took a chance on Nick, and the work speaks for itself. And it was a great experience. He's got a producing partner there, Bernard Fanning from the band Powderfinger. That's also a great songwriter. A true professional too. Like he's done everything, and just being in that environment away from home was really special, and it really helped us kind of blossom as songwriters and just studio performers, and it's just good. It's good to get away from everything and just focus, more than anything. So that's in Detroit or Australia, like it's good to be away from any obligation you could possibly have at home.
Mark, do you just want to confess to everybody right now you're buying property in Australia? I mean, you can go ahead and come clean now. You're buying property in Australia. You had such a great time there, didn't you?
Not a bad thing.
Right? I mean, it's just wonderful there. But I mean, you had to have a good time there. And from my understanding, you guys, although there's only 5 songs on the EP, and we'll put a link up so everyone can go check out the EP and buy it. It's the self-titled EP from Dirty Honey. From my understanding, you guys may have left a couple songs off of that, which, from people who follow us here on the website, know that that might be a little something down the road that they can check out later this fall. Is that correct? Can you tease people a little bit about that?
No pun intended there with that down the road, but yeah, we have another track that's getting released here in the fall with our vinyl called Break You. That's going to be coming out. I don't know when specifically, but it'll be coming out, and it'll be a nice little surprise for Dirty Honey fans as we continue to motor along here.
Well, that's going to be absolutely outstanding. We're excited about that. Now, I know you have to be a big vinyl fan yourself because that's something you grew up listening to. And one of the bands that kind of broke themselves being big, huge vinyl fans was The Who. And I bring that up because, of course, you got to open up for The Who. And you just got done getting off tour with Miles Kennedy and Slash, as well as a long run with Red Sun Rising. Tell people about how it felt to come off a tour with those three huge big bands there.
Yeah, it was great. Certainly starting it all out with Red Sun. They were awesome guys. They're awesome professionals, and they're grinding it out. They're going to some smaller markets and doing some smaller type halls, right? So it was a good introduction for us touring. Like, it was a pretty rigorous touring schedule with sometimes 4 or 5 dates in a row. Which can be pretty taxing on the voice, and the travel schedule is pretty insane. So that was our getting thrown into the fire touring wise. And then we did some dates with Slash before that, which were great. Some single flyaway dates, those were awesome. And then we were also at Goodbye June, learned a lot from those guys on the Red Sun Rising tour. And then as you continue to go, you get in the festival season, and you're opening for Slash again and Miles, who are just the nicest guys in the world, and they're so gracious, and they're such rock and roll fans that it's so refreshing to just get a compliment from them about what you're doing, and just knowing that even your heroes think you're on the right path to doing something special, which is cool. And then obviously opening for The Who was like a dream come true. I never in a million years thought that would happen. That was a very emotional night for me personally, and for a lot of the rest of the guys too. That was just an insane experience, playing in an arena for the first time, meeting Roger Daltrey, and their team is just so legendary that you hear all these familiar names just from reading books and articles about The Who. That it's pretty surreal.
Oh, I bet it was just fantastic. Marc Labebelle joining us today. Dirty Honey, the brand new single, just climbing the charts when I'm gone. Now, from what I understand, you guys still have a whole collection of music kind of stuck in notepads. It's a great EP of 5 songs. Are you chomping at the bit to put a full album out, or are you just kind of taking it easy, doing it your own way? Just kind of doing it your own style, because really that's kind of the modern age we live in nowadays.
Yeah, I think, we're only into the first single from our EP, so, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves talking about a full-length record, but, we're all working on music all the time. Just the other day, John and I were working on these 2 ideas that are just really fantastic, and I'm really excited about. And it's there is that part of you that wants to get new stuff out and share it with the world, but at the same time, we already have most of the rest of our year mapped out for us, and it's going to be 30-minute sets here and there, all across the country. And we want people to enjoy the EP first, and then maybe I think we'll probably start sprinkling in some new stuff here towards in this Alter Bridge run, just to start testing it out, and see what's working.
Right. But I say that because although it's only 5 songs, those songs live, let's be completely honest, Mark, Rolling Sevens, for example, that live, it's brilliant. It's brilliant live. I want to give you guys credit on your live performances.
Thank you.
And so that's
a compliment, and I think anytime you're better live, that's the goal, right? You want to be something special to see live. You want people to be saying that all the time, because that's what it's all about, man. It's making that connection live. More than anything for me, I never knew I really wanted to do this until I saw Aerosmith live. That was when it really clicked into me, and I was like, that looks like fun. I'm having fun. Everybody here is having fun, and they're escaping their problems at home for these 2 hours or whatever, and this is a kick-ass time, That's what I'm all about.
Do you remember off the top of your head what tour or what album it was that you saw Aerosmith on that tour?
Man, I was a little kid. I must have been 5 or I think it was 97. It was 9 Lives.
9 Lives. The first time I saw them was on, I think, permanent vacation, and they had just got out of recovery. And so they were just trying to deal with the whole fact that they were sober for the very first time. So they had that awkward quirkiness to them. So they were mellow, but yet they wanted to be rowdy. They didn't know how to quite deal with themselves in their new skin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure. And they, that's been my favorite band since I was really little. And they are an awesome live band. Anyway, you cut it. And Steven Tyler's been a big hero of mine. So is Robert Plant and Jagger and even guys like Eddie Vedder and Chris Cornell. Those are some huge influences on me. So, to see their entire spectrum of the good and the bad is an interesting way to learn about, what it means to try and have some longevity in this business,
Well, you have named some great lead singers, and Marc Labebelle, you are one of them that I can personally stick you up there with Dirty Honey. And if people want to see a live show, we'll put a link out there so they can check out where to catch out Dirty Honey live across the U.S. this summer. It's going to be a brilliant show, and people must definitely check it out.
Thanks so much, man.
Absolutely. Marc, I want to thank you for your time today. It's been a pleasure. We'll put a link up for the self-titled Dirty Honey EP. People need to check it out. Currently number 7, up 2 spots from last week on Billboard. I'll tell you what, this thing's going to hit number 1, Marc. I can feel it in my heart. A brilliant song. It's called When I'm Gone, and it's fantastic. Marc, thank you so much for joining us today.
I love it, man, and we appreciate it.